Yeah,
All
I
right.
don't think anybody sees this other than us, but
Yeah.
as soon as we did something controversial, it would be everywhere.
It would be, yeah.
You can watch us on YouTube.
If you're
Really?
really bored, yeah.
We have ones and ones of hits.
Ones and ones.
Okay, shall we get underway?
Yeah,
Got it, Pete.
Sure.
it's Pete's
So the
pick,
movie
so
for
Pete
discussion
entered
this week is The Big Year. It came out in 2011. It was based on a book called The Big Year, A Tale of Man, Nature, and Fowl Obsession, which was a true story about three birders and their trek in 1998, where collectively those three birders amassed 275,000 miles in pursuit of a big year. It had a budget of $41 million, opening weekend of 3.2 million, final worldwide gross of 8.1, not counting our revenue for Amazon Prime or however we watched this week. So it was a box office failure, to say the least. David Frankel was the director. I'm sure all of you gentlemen will know the movie The Devil Wears Prada, one of his movies. Also, he did The Band of Brothers, Marley and Me, a couple of the other movies directed by David Frankel. It had a extraordinary cast, quite a huge cast of first-rate, top-shelf actors: Steve Martin, Brian Dennehy, Owen Wilson, Jack Black, Tim Blake Nelson, Angelica Houston, to name a few. So there's quite a bit of talent in this movie. I suspect that took up a lot of the 41 million, perhaps. The only award that I could note was Best Music Supervision. For a film budgeted over $20 million, that was awarded by the GMS, as we all know, is the Guild of Music Supervisors. So didn't bring home a lot of hardware. I'll just say what I suspect would be the negative, or at least the negative in my mind first. It does get a little sappy. It does get a little Hallmark Channelish, a little pedestrian on the dialogue. And I watched it a second time over the weekend, and initially, as I was watching again, I thought, oh, I made a mistake here. I've wasted these people's time. But as I thought more about it, I do see some redeeming qualities in this movie. It was by no means a knee slapper. You probably never laughed out loud during any part of it. But I read a lot of reviews online, and the adjectives that kept coming up were pleasant, enjoyable, touching, thought-provoking, a beautiful sleeper of a movie. I thought the scenery was spectacular. I liked the music. I thought the soundtrack was very good. I liked the narration feature in the movie. I liked the data when they would continually update the three birders and show you where they were at. I thought that was a nice touch. And I liked at the end when they're rolling the credits where they actually showed a picture of all the birds that the winning birder spotted for that year. Gary talks a lot about character arc, and there was some clearly defined arcs in this movie. Jack Black and his dad, Brian Dennehy, kind of both had reciprocal arcs. Dennehy didn't think Jack Black was doing much to advance his career, didn't think much of his hobby. Jack Black himself, I think, probably thought he was a failure. And obviously, by the end of the movie, they came to respect each other, and they grew toward each other. And Brian Dennehy actually embraced and got excited about this passion that Jack Black had. Steve Martin, a very successful entrepreneur, struggling with the demands on his time, always getting called back to New York or wherever, and finally decides by the end of the movie, I don't need this. I don't want to be a CEO anymore. You guys run it. I want to spend time with my new grandson. And Owen Wilson, not really, I think, at the surprise of anyone, decided he chucked everything. He chucked his marriage. He abdicated the possibility of fatherhood. and decided he wanted to go continue this hobby, except on a worldwide scale. And we last saw him in China, looking for birds in China. But more than anything else, what intrigued me about this movie was the subject matter, birding. I made some thoughts as I watched it the second time, like, is this really a thing? You know, or did somebody just pull this out of the air? And I've did a little bit of research about birding, and if you'll allow me, I'd like to share some fun facts about birding with you. The ABA, or American Birding Association, was formed in 1969, and the territory includes now all 50 states, Canada, some French islands outside of Canada, and 200 miles off coast, I guess, of these islands. A gentleman by the name of John Wagle now has the ABA record of 840 species spotted in 2019. Before Hawaii was added to the ABA territory, he also held the record of 784 birds spotted in 2016. The U.S. record, also held by Wagle, he got that in 2019 as well, 830. And then the contiguous United States birding record is held by Reuben Stoll. In 2022, he saw 750 plus one. And the footnote on the plus one is, I guess they caucused and decided that the southern lapwing counted. And so his new total then became 751 birds. There was a world big year. In 2008, the record was 4,341 birds, held by Alan Davis and Ruth Miller of the UK. However, in 2016, Noah Stryker, a bicyclist from Oregon, had a goal of surpassing 5,000 birds. On September the 16th, he moved past Davis and Miller's record when he spotted the Sri Lanka frogmouth for his 4,342nd bird. He finished the year with 6,042. However, that same year, Dutch birder Arjan Dwarsius broke Stryker's record when he spotted a Tody Motmot, and he finished the year with 6,852, which is still the world birding record to this day. Other notable birders, notable for other fields: Stephen Breyer, Supreme Court Justice; Laura Bush; Daryl Hannah; both Mick Jagger and Paul McCartney; and Theodore Roosevelt was quite an avid birder himself. There were a few goofs in the movie. The Attu Islands are not closer to Tokyo than Anchorage, as Jack Black said. The Attu Islands are 1,440 miles away from Anchorage. They are 2,000 miles away from Tokyo. When Jack Black slipped on the rocks in the Attu Islands, that was not scripted. That was a true accident, and they just kept it in. And I was also curious as to whether Rashida Jones, the daughter of Pecky Lipton, now passed, and Quincy Jones, if she really was doing those bird calls. I found a clip of her on the Conan O'Brien show 6 years after she made the movie, where she delivered a highly accurate replication of the California quail. So she does, in fact, know how to give bird calls. In addition to the big year, there is also a phenomenon known as the big day, which is the most species you see in a 24-hour period. You have the big sit, or the big stay, which is the most birds you see in a specific 17-foot diameter over a 24-hour period. And there's also something, and it was referenced in the movie, Jack Black mentioned it to Rashida Jones, a life list, the number of birds you see over your lifetime. That record is held by Peter Kastner, who actually used to be a U.S. diplomat, the country of which I do not recall, but he was the first birder to spot over 10,000 birds worldwide. So I like this movie. I thought it was relaxing, no stress, didn't have to figure out any deep secret dialogue or hidden worlds. It's just about three guys and their passion, actually more than three, but I thought it was a fun escape for an hour and something, and I hope you folks enjoyed it. So there you go. It's now open for discussion.
Had you seen it before, Pete?
I had, yeah, I had it. I saw it a number of years ago, and it was on my list. I'm sure we all have lists of potential picks. And like I said, when I first started watching it again, I thought, I don't know, but it just kind of grew on me. So I hope if I'd be curious if any one of you had not seen it before, or
I
did
had
you
not.
all?
No.
Okay, okay.
I had.
Me too.
Had you? Okay, all right. So hope you enjoyed it.
I want to know what is the total number of bird species in the world, so we have
That's
a
what I was-
denominator.
It is estimated to be over 10,000 species. So this birder that I made reference to, if you believe that number, he's seen damn near all of them. But I also read that 10,000 worldwide is probably is no doubt a low. And and of course, every so often you read about new species of whatever being discovered, but it's in excess of 10,000 species.
So he almost reached bird singularity.
Yes, yes, he did.
So Pete, I have a question. I looked up Atu to see where it was in the Aleutian Islands, and it's
Yes.
supposed to be the westernmost
The
point
tip
of
of
the
yes, the
States,
tip of that chain. Yes, yes.
which is interesting. And so then I got a world map out and looked down, and sure enough, the Hawaiian Islands are east of that. So it's like, wow. And I'd been to a part of Alaska this summer, so that kind of piqued my curiosity there. And then, did anyone notice the dance that Steve Martin did in the hangar when he and Brad Harris came back from that amazing helicopter ride?
Yep.
And Brad got the call about his father having a heart attack. Well, behind him in the hangar, Steve Martin is doing like this King Tut or
Yeah.
Wild and Crazy Guy kind of dance behind him. Which one was it? Does anybody know? I tried to find it, but
I did have that same notion when I saw him doing that. It did kind of remind me of the Wild and Crazy Guy from Saturday Night Live
yeah,
a little bit, but I did have that same thought actually.
yeah.
That was reminiscent of that bit that he used to do. Yes.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't believe he was doing that behind this really bad phone call that his buddy was getting. He's back there acting up, but that's typical Steve Martin, I think. So
I'm trying to imagine the calls that the casting director made to this level of stardom. Jack Black, Steve Martin, Owen Wilson, Angela. What would they have said to convince them to do a movie about bird watching?
$5 million.
Yeah, we got money.
Well, that was my concern. It was somebody took just a payday, and that it was a box office disaster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it lost like $40 million, right?
35 is what this says.
35.
wow.
$41 million. I think that's a pretty good budget, right? Probably.
Yeah.
Don't you imagine the more people that signed up, the easier it is to get others to come along? I mean, you drop a few names at the front end, and Martin's in this, or whatever, and then yeah.
Yeah. If Steve Martin thinks there's something in a movie about birding, okay, I'm in.
It's going to be good.
Did anybody, I don't know if you read my minutes or not, did anybody else feel like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was a piece of this?
Yeah, I thought of that. Yeah.
One of the reviews I read made a reference to that comparison as well, Mike. Yeah.
I mean, it's touching, it's sympathetic, charming,
Yeah. Right.
touching and charming.
You want to
Yeah,
say
I
that
was-
again?
All
I
those
think-
Well, I'll see you in 9 weeks.
I think Pete's opening line was that it was pleasant. I think this is the first movie we've identified as pleasant.
I enjoyed it, Pete.
I watched it when it came out, and I tried watching it the other night, and after about 40 minutes, I bailed.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I have apps on my phone to identify birds. So I am a bird listener and a bird watcher. If I hear a song I can put an app out and it will tell me what bird it is. And I do that everywhere I go. But the idea of watching other people bird watch, and you said originally, some people might think it's sappy and corny. Put me in that category. I thought it was sappy and corny.
Freely admit. So, hey, Babe Ruth didn't hit a home run every time he got up to the plate.
I mean, I thought it was okay. I didn't mind watching it. I got it in over 2 nights, but I started to kind of look at it in terms of the 3 main characters, where they were at in their careers, and how we liked them. And that's what I've been thinking about. It's like, Steve Martin, it was 2011, right? So when the movie came out, he's like, I mean, I think all of us, we relate to, of the 3 main stars, we relate to Steve Martin the most. And really, it doesn't seem like he doesn't have the comedic power that he had when we were young, and maybe that's true of everyone as they age, and all that. But and you can make the same arguments for Owen Wilson and Jack Black too, where they fit into the comedy kind of realm of things. They've seemed to have fallen a little bit. I don't know if everybody would agree with that.
Are you saying they've fallen based on this movie?
No, in
Because,
their careers, just in their careers. I mean, I think their performance in the movie was pretty decent, but their careers, I think, I was just judging them for where they were at. I think they were. I don't know. Do you think Jack Black was past his prime in this movie, or is he still in the prime of his career? In your way of thinking, or?
I'd have to go back and look at the other movies that he was in.
He's had bizarre.
I don't think the script was designed to showcase their comedic talents.
That's kind of where I was going. It really wasn't a comedy, say, It was charming, as Mike says. It was charming.
Yeah, it was. And so really the charmers, the people that kind of came to realize it, were Rashida Jones and Brian Dennehy, Joel McHale. I mean, all the periphery kind of came to understand birding. Or not that Rashida Jones didn't, but she obviously dropped her boyfriend and found a kindred spirit in Jack Black's recognition of her sounds. Who knew he's a bird sound savant and she can knock him out.
Yeah.
I saw it described as a Steve Martin late life crisis, Owen Wilson midlife crisis, and Jack Black no life crisis.
Yeah, I saw the same thing.
You'll have my resignation in the morning.
Now, don't get hasty, Pete. I liked it. Please stay.
I did too. If my vote counts.
No, I like the movie.
I just don't think there was enough gunplay. That's what.
Oh my God.
If there would have been more explosions,
That's why Terry couldn't make it. People shooting up all the birds.
I'm going to tell him. I'm going to tell him what you said, Gary. Kidding.
Oh, the helicopter ride was fun.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
That guy was good. The pilot.
Yeah. Watch this. You
Corbin Benson, by the way. Cameo by Corbin Benson.
I read that it was all shot in British Columbia. Is that true, Pete?
And I think so. I think some of that footage was actually the Attu Islands as well.
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
Yeah,
I want to go back.
Yeah.
Sorry. I want to go back to the discussion about comedians and their life cycles a little bit. Do you think, it's kind of my observation, that people early in their career have no fear and they are more than willing to look stupid? And like, think of the all the slapstick stuff that took place on Saturday Night Live and the weird stuff that Steve Martin used to do. As they mature, it seems like they kind of don't want to do that anymore, whether it makes them, they think it's just silly or not entertaining, or it's too much work, it's too hard physically, whatever. But I always feel bad when people sort of, that fire burns out and they sort of settle down a little bit when they've been such great comedians in the past. That's just me.
Yeah, no, there's a I don't know what you want to call a debate that goes on. It's like all actors want to be singers and all singers want to be actors. Whatever they start with, they think I would be more respected as an actor if I could sing and dance, or I would be more respected as an entertainer if I was taken seriously as an actor. And I think with comedians, and I'm thinking of Robin Williams specifically, he did the goofiest stuff possible, but late in his career, Good Will Hunting or whatever, maybe not Good Will. What's the one I'm thinking about? But anyway, he took on some dramatic roles because he wanted to be the other side of the goofy comedian. I think there's, I don't know if it's a maturation where you start as a goofy comedian and end up being something else, or that whatever you start as, you always think the other side of the coin is going to be more respectful.
I think I think one of the movies you're thinking of is 1 Hour Photo with Robin Williams, where
he's the teacher, whereas he's the professor.
Dead Poets.
Dead
Poets
Dead
Society.
That is about as far away from his, Mork and Mindy persona as you can get.
Miss Doubtfire, or
Yeah. So I think you're onto something, Jeff, in that people go through cycles that they do one thing to get noticed, and then they try to do something else to get respected.
I know Jack Black from High Society, which was a story about three guys that were kind of losers that had a record store. And I thought he was great in that. And he did a lot of crazy and physical comedy. And in this one, he seemed much more subdued to me. He didn't deliver to what my expectations were.
I thought he was good in School of Rock. I mean,
Yeah,
he owned that. That was all him.
yeah.
Have
Well,
you ever
his band?
Have you ever seen Bernie?
No.
You mean Weekend?
No, just the movie Bernie with Jack Black.
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, I may save that one for my recommendation in a couple of weeks. You deserve to see Jack Black in a different way.
Well,
Okay.
I know my son, he made me watch Jack Black and his band, him and that other guy.
Tenacious D.
Yeah, Tenacious D.
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
to watch them for several months, and it was like, oh boy. I don't know if you guys did, but I mean, so Steve Martin and Jack Black, they both are actors and musicians for sure. I don't think I've ever seen Owen Wilson ever play anything.
Steve Martin teamed up with Edie Brickell, didn't he?
He did an album with her. Yeah.
Well, he's a banjo savant.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was the lyricist and he was the banjo player, I think.
Let's see.
Mahoney, you've been awfully quiet, sir.
Yeah, it was a pleasant film. I'll go there. I am not. I'm not taken with Owen Wilson in almost any role I've ever seen him in, and so that was a burden I shared from the get-go on this. They could have put almost anybody else in there in that role, and it would have been probably more attractive to me. So I just didn't. I didn't buy his character. I don't care for his style of acting. He's just not one of my favorite actors, and it reflects. I don't watch many movies that he's in. The other thing, and I thought about this because I hadn't seen this movie before. And Pete, I don't know if it came up in your research. but I'm not quite sure still how they verify that someone has seen 7,000 birds.
It's
etc.
like it's like golf. It's like golf. You're on the honor system.
Okay.
It's the honor system. It really
I
is.
haven't.
I mean, do people bullshit? Do people scam other people? Probably, but that's the verification.
Sure.
You're on the honor system.
I mean, I took it that they had to have photos. I think
But it's not required. It's not required. I got 3 more pages of stuff about birding if you'd like me to just go to that.
Is it true you can just hear the bird and count it in?
Yes. Yeah, yes. Thank you, Jeff. Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
You don't have to see the bird, just
You can
hear
hear
the
him.
bird.
You can hear him.
What if it's Rashida Jones pretending to be a bird? Does that count?
The only one you're going to hear is the California quail.
Well, you won right there, though. I mean, you found Rashida Jones.
By the way, the rarest bird in North America, toughest to see if you're a birder, and just rarest, California condor.
What?
Yeah. It's been like
that's-
years.
Over Catalina Island.
Huh?
Aren't they all over Catalina Island?
I
But there's
believe
no
I
place
read there's
else,
only a
I don't
couple
think.
hundred of them running around.
Wow.
So
That'll
who,
be part of my report.
so who is Rashida Jones' famous musician half sister?
Somebody Jones.
Debbie
Nora?
Jones.
Nora Jones. Very good. Yeah.
And their father was
Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones.
No,
It
Robbie.
wasn't Nora Jones. it was
He's Ravi
Ravi
Shankar.
Robbie Shankar was Nora Jones' dad.
Oh, Nora Jones. Sorry, I was thinking of Rashida.
Ravi Shankar and Quincy Jones they fathered Nora
Yeah,
Jones.
Nora Jones. All right. Let's do a little more research on that one.
Genetic engineering at its finest.
Can I just go back and talk a little bit more about why I don't like Owen Wilson?
Sure. Because
Yeah,
I
please do.
would counter that.
Just to move this along a little bit.
Where
What-
did that
what if
start?
it had been-
Mahoney? Where did that start?
Was it
Like Wedding Crashers or something?
Yeah, I think so.
What if it had been Luke Wilson?
You're
Well, it
holding
was Hack Wilson.
Or Clive Owen.
That's the Owen.
Yeah, do you know if they had anybody else cast for these parts, Pete?
No, I do not. No.
Is there a big year 2 that we can look forward to?
Some would say there wasn't even a big year 1.
There was a on CBS Sunday Morning. There was a deal on Owen Wilson. You know,
Can you send that to Mahoney?
Well, I mean, I'm not an Owen Wilson fan. I have a little Owen Wilson burnout, but I mean, you know, I think getting back, you know, to the kids and all that, when the kids kind of loved all these, you know, the Will Ferrells and the Owen Wilson and all the shows they put together, you know, and so you always were going to the movie to watch them with your kids and stuff like that. And but I mean, Owen Wilson, he was great in Zoolander. He played, you know, there just have been, but it's always been a comedy, and I think maybe that's kind of where Mike's going with it, is that he never had a real role, serious acting role, you know, or anything like that.
Yeah, I just don't find him that funny. And I don't find his roles funny, or his take on his roles.
He was in Midnight in Paris, which was a kind of interesting movie.
Was
Yeah.
that one of our movies? Was that one of our movies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff picked that one.
And that was with
It's a Woody
Woody?
Allen movie, and
Woody
he
Allen.
was
no.
no, but he went back in time to previous eras of literature and talked to all kinds of like amazing characters.
Yeah, and he's in some pretty good Wes Anderson movies too. Right?
Yeah. I object to his nose though. His nose is very strange.
Mm-hmm.
Only a plastic surgeon would just want to get in and
Oh man, he wouldn't look anything like he looks if somebody got a hold of him.
Yeah, I think you
Not
figured
in a
out.
Michael Jackson way, but just in a, you know.
Oh, wow. I hadn't thought about the plastic surgeon making that comment.
I know just what's going on in there.
Yeah.
If you ever meet Jeff in person, you won't see a wrinkle on him.
Oh, wow,
Oh,
okay.
that's not true.
I thought it was like mad world in that they had the, you know, kind of the 3 top comedians, but they had this supporting cast of people all around them, you know. So many good other actors in the show. It's, you know, that way. Seeing
So
some
we're
of
talking
them.
big year.
Huh?
We're talking big year.
Yeah, the big year.
Just
Lot of support cast in there, you know.
It's a good thing it wasn't 3.5 hours long like Mad Men World was.
So,
Be the
Pete,
long ear.
I often ask the question, what do you think the makers of the movie were trying to do? Do you think they were trying to show 3 different people going through life crises? You think they were trying to create an appreciation for bird watching? You think they were trying to make a quick buck? What?
Seriously, I think the first thing you said, you had 3 characters that were going through a life crisis of some sort, that all had the common denominator of having a extreme passion for this hobby, which is what brings them together. But yeah, I think initially it's the life crisis that they're all going, or just trying to figure out the hell am I going to do, you know? So yeah, I think that's the thing. You know, compared to like The Devil Wears Prada, where, man, never mind, I didn't see that. So
No, I agree with Pete there. That's what I think the movie was about, was how 3 different people were handling 3 different stages of life.
exactly.
Still,
Why do you
fun.
think the audience didn't respond to that?
You know what it could be is because it wasn't funny, right? Maybe that's what it was. Maybe they had an expectation.
You think people saw a Jack Black, Steve Martin marquee and thought, I know this ought to be a riot, and they came out thinking that was a study in midlife crisis. That's not what I'm. And
Probably so. Yeah.
They were basically 3 relationship movies. They all had some conflict with their partners and their home life and that sort of thing. It's like Marley and Me and Steve and Jack and Owen.
So the producers
Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice.
The producers had the choice of getting, you know, marquee level comedians and letting everybody down, or hiring mid-level actors and then hopefully raising expectations. Like, you know, that was a decent movie about, you know, people in life crises. To me, that was a mismatch. The people they chose to tell that story through. You know, even Angelica Houston, I think of her in a certain way. It's like, what is she doing in this movie? You know?
Yeah.
When you saw it, Wicker, did you see it in the theater?
It's been I think so. Yeah.
I didn't. I saw it on television.
I saw it on TV, or I maybe even rented it back in the day.
I wondered if maybe it was a straight to video thing is the way they did it, but if it was in theaters.
Yeah, that's a good question. I do not remember, but you know, it's been a while since I've seen it. You know, I think I saw it, you know, at least 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
it was not in the theater. It was soon after at, you know, the video store. Remember those?
Blockbuster.
I didn't recall it when Pete suggested it until I started watching. I said, wait a minute, I've seen this.
You started watching, go, damn it.
Don't.
Not again. So, I was
You
looking
rented
at,
it twice. You rented it twice, Mike.
Suckered.
ran out of time.
You owe me $10, buddy. Both times.
But did you rewind the movie the first time?
Yes.
So I was looking at, since Steve Martin was the marquee actor on this, I was looking at movies he's made since 2011. Anybody want to guess at how many movies he's made since 2011?
20.
I heard 20.
2.
That'd be my guess. Go ahead.
5. He's made 5, and I would challenge anybody to name one of them.
Father of the Bride.
Yeah, part 3 in 2020.
Part 3.
My Blue Heaven, is that one? My Blue Heaven?
No, they're Home, Love the Coopers, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, The American Epic Sessions, and Father of the Bride Part 3.
Wow.
Didn't
I mean-
see any of them.
All
Huh?
hits. All hits.
Yeah. I mean, he really hasn't done that much TV, although he's pretty popular with that Only Murders in the Building. I know that he is, and I've watched a few of those, but
I just like Owen Wilson as Lightning McQueen.
yeah.
Well, I guess you figured out my strategy. I wanted to take the best movie of Steve Martin's last 6 movies. And clearly,
You did it, Pete. I knew you would.
2 thumbs up.
So,
If I had them.
Mike Sanders, do you know Susan Metzger?
Yes.
Mike Mahoney, you know Susan Metzger?
No.
Or no, Mike Matson, sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So they were over to dinner last night, and we were talking about, I don't know, we started talking about friends that she is getting together with for some sort of reunion. And one of her best friends from Thayer, Missouri, is a water skier. If water skiing had been an Olympic sport, she would have been an Olympic champion. She's an expert water skier. But her claim to fame is in Jaws 2. She is the water skier that gets eaten by the shark. So we pulled up the scene from Jaws 2 where the water skier gets eaten by the shark. So that's our claim to fame, is that Susan Metzger knows the dying water skier in Jaws 2. So if you're going to go to,
wow.
part 3 of Father of the Bride, I wrote a Jaws 2 reference that had no basis in anything other than it changed the subject.
I can
Does
see
she-
why she wasn't a world famous water skier from Thayer, Missouri, because there's no lake around there.
I know, but her parents found a lake for her to ski in, and
Must have gone to the Ozarks, right, Mike?
Right.
Does she know Bill Murray?
let me ask.
Find out.
There you go.
Was he
Susan
in
might.
Jaws? Was he in Jaws? Oh, he was in Jaws 2.
Yeah, he got ate by the shark.
That's a running gag here, Chris, is we tried to reach Bill Murray to invite him to just make an appearance. And we
Yeah,
were
but
never
just so
able.
you know, you're just holding a spot for Bill Murray. Don't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You
If
can have
Bill
Bill
Murray,
This is 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
He hasn't shown up yet.
So who's invited him and how?
well, none of
Well,
us have,
none of us have.
but Mike Sanders has a few times.
No, there was a documentary by a guy who tried to find Bill Murray. Bill Murray does not have an agent, and he has an 800 number. And you call the number and you leave a message, and if he's interested, he'll call you back. And so if you're Wes Anderson or if you're Steven Spielberg or something like that, he'll call you back. Otherwise, he ignores you, and then drops in on your party or something like
I did contact John Goodman's publicist to try to see if I could get John Goodman to, but that didn't go anywhere either. So
that. Yeah, right. And then I know a guy from Kansas City who is the director of photography for Grey's Anatomy. He said, "Oh yeah, I can do this," and no, it didn't work at all. So
Well, I
By the way-
graduated from Missouri State in 1975 with John Goodman.
who did?
John Goodman.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Same year.
He was in my class at Missouri State in 1975 and graduated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
a little.
Well, you
Or-
Mike,
Did you have any classes
I-
with him? Did you know
I
him on
did
campus?
not. I was on the marketing, the business side, and I'm sure he was on another part of the campus, theatrics and whatever. He was over there with the arts and crafts people like Terry Atkinson. You're supposed to laugh.
He was.
It could
Mike,
be.
one more thing about your favorite actor, Owen Wilson. He plays the character Kenny Bostic in this movie. Okay.
Yeah.
In 2021, the contiguous United States big year record was 718, and that was achieved by Charlie Bostwick. So no relation.
Get out of here.
Ah.
Yeah.
Strange, and yet it happened.
Go ahead, Pete, if you got a couple more pages.
Yeah.
Can I talk about the Sri Lanka frogmouth?
Stretch.
Okay, what's everybody watching?
Okay, yeah. Should we do the next week? And the next picker is Chris Pearson.
No.
I was right one night. It's you, Sanders, isn't it?
It is. It's my pick.
But I
This is
mean,
my-
it would be Chris, right?
No, Bill.
Yeah,
But
alphabetically.
I mean, yeah, we do alphabetical order.
Oh, we do it alphabetically. That's true. If you fall in and stay,
But I mean, so when do
it'd
we
be
want to
before
slide her in?
me.
Do we want to let her, do you want to, would you rather just wait for the next cycle or do you want to go?
Yeah, let's let her go through the cycle.
Okay.
Go around the group.
well, yeah, you
Yeah,
have
exactly.
to see what everybody else does for a while.
Unless you
Sure.
want
Be
it.
back.
I would prefer to wait maybe a couple more times, just kind of get the feel of what
Right.
goes on in the group and
And then
Yeah.
just let me make a correction. We have 11, not 10.
Oh,
So-
yeah?
So it will
Donna.
be, it will
Stop that,
be,
Jeff.
it will be 10 more weeks.
Well, I'm gonna be out 4 or 5 or 6 weeks, so
Me too.
where are you going? Where are you going?
where are you going? I'm going to Santa Fe for a week, and then I'm going to the San Juan River for a week, and then we're going to the national parks in Utah and the national
Ah,
monuments, and
very nice.
then we're
Like,
going
take your
to
binoculars.
Albuquerque for Balloon Fiesta.
Ah, bucket list.
Take your binoculars, Mike. There's some great birding that can be done.
I'm looking for the Roadrunner.
Where are you headed to, Whitaker?
I'm in Europe for 50 days, starting September 7th. So I'll be back middle of October.
Yeah, I leave on the 9th of September, which I think we're off the week before that for Labor Day and
That's
my
true. We do take, Chris, we take holidays off, especially
Okay.
when they fall on a
Because this
Monday.
is so stressful. We can't
Right.
keep them all year round.
It can be.
No, that's good.
It was tonight, huh, Pete?
Yeah, it was charming.
I feel like the Rodney Dangerfield of the LUFC here.
Pleasant,
All right.
Pleasant Pete. That's how I'm going to refer to you. from now on.
Yeah. I am charming.
Yes, he is.
Hey, Mike Sanders,
Yes,
you get a chance and you've got Chris's contact information. A, you could distribute it to all of us. And B,
I don't know that I do. I mean, I see
Or
Chris on
I can give
Facebook.
it to you right now.
yeah, that's fine.
I
I mean,
pay,
I'm right here. You don't have to talk around me, right? What would you like?
Chris, why don't you just text it to me? I'm gonna send out the video here in about an hour or something. And I'll just
Okay.
put it in there and then
Just-
everybody will have it.
Okay, what do you want to know?
Email.
Your email.
Okay,
Why don't you just say it out loud and some of us will remember it?
On YouTube.
But I won't.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
let it go. Let it come through, Bill.
okay.
You don't
okay.
want to get it on YouTube.
Gary, did you get this much crap on Moonstruck?
Yes.
He
Yes.
pretty much did, yeah.
Plus, Chris, I got like, I don't do it as good as I used to, but I have a list of all the movies that we've picked in the past.
What
I
I was
love
gonna-
to see that. Yeah.
What I was
There
going
you
to
go.
suggest is if Sanders or somebody could send her a couple of Bob Walsh's way early ones, just so she'd get
Oh,
an
there you
idea
go.
about even the whole genesis of this.
Bob
Anything
was,
that would be helpful.
All right, Sanders, you're up.
You're
all
right.
right. This is a charming movie. It really is. I'm not kidding you. This is charming. It's called Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How many of you have not seen this?
Not
Oh, okay. That's it, huh? Okay, well,
just me.
It's a charmer.
I've seen it.
it stars Greg Kinnear, Steve Carell, Tony
Owen
Collette,
Wilson.
and Al. And the reason I picked this, Alan Arkin. Alan Arkin was one of my favorite actors, and he died recently, and it made me think of this. And he won Best Supporting Actor for this, an Oscar. But a family determined to get their young daughter into the finals of a beauty pageant go on a cross-country trip in their VW bus. But I wanted to warn you guys that it's rated R. So don't have your grandkids watch it with you or anything.
Does anybody get shot?
No, but the language is a little rough. I think that's what got them the R rating. It's on HBO Max with the subscription, and for rent on the Big Five. The Big Five is I can't name them all off, but it's Prime, Apple Plus. When you look it up, we often look things up on realgood.com. It's spelled REELGOOD.com.
It'll tell you when it's streaming.
Yeah, and that in imdb.com, which is Internet Movie Database, both of which have been purchased by Amazon. So you have to be careful about who they say it's only available at. Sometimes you have to look.
Okay.
And then we also talk about recommendations. You guys probably saw my email about looking for Sugar Man. The guy who was I would highly recommend that to anybody that hasn't seen it.
That's a well-done documentary. They do a good job of stringing it out and carrying you along, and it's got a great payoff too.
Yeah. And he died just last week at the age of 81.
Oh, you
And
mean
then
the real
I
Sugar
still
Man?
like the Lincoln Lawyer.
I'm sorry, what?
I still like the Lincoln Lawyer.
Yeah. I was going to also mention that Asteroid City is on Peacock Premium right now. It's available as a video on demand at several places at $19.99. But if you happen to have Peacock Premium, you could go ahead and watch it right now.
Did you watch it?
No, not yet. I just
Okay.
found that out today when I was looking at
Anybody else watched it?
Is it a movie or a series?
Asteroid City. It's the Wes Anderson movie.
And it's not a current release.
Yeah, that's what he just said.
Oh, so we can't stream it?
Well, you can. The
Only
only
on
place it can
Paramount
be
Plus.
streamed is right now is on Peacock Premium,
Peacock.
Gotcha.
or at $19.99 as a rental.
That'd be pretty good.
Anybody else have recommendations?
Hard to follow. But it's a Wes Anderson movie, so what do you expect?
And you liked it, right, Gary?
Yeah, it's not that pleasant, but it's it's interesting.
Owen Wilson's not in that, is he?
No, he's not.
But Wes Anderson
Got that going for it.
his first movie had Owen Wilson in it. It was called Bottle Rockets.
Lots of his movies have had them.
Yeah.
Tenenbaums.
Right.
Well, there you go, Royal Tenenbaums. Yeah.
The art direction of Asteroid City is worth the price of admission. Just the look of it,
As somebody I think had said that they'd watched Rabbit Hole or some of it. Is that right?
That's a
I've
documentary.
seen the Rabbit Hole,
Yeah.
but I don't know what the question is, Jeff.
Is it? I just want to know if it's worth delving into.
Well, it's the one that I'm familiar with is Nicole Kidman, and it's about she and her husband lose a child in a car accident.
Oh, this is a series that's going on right now,
Oh, a series, okay.
and it's Kiefer Sutherland, and it's like
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of
I did watch a couple of those.
old switcheroo kind of thing.
I watched a documentary yesterday called Johnny Football, which is about Johnny Manziel. And if you care anything about what happens to college football players who get bigger than life and then vanish, and all the money that he made for Texas A&M, and this was before all the image likeness, stuff. So he got away. I mean, he raised millions of dollars for Texas A&M, won a Heisman as a freshman, and then got drafted, and his life just blew up. And it's an interesting documentary about, the dark side of college football.
Where's it streaming?
It's a Netflix documentary.
Okay.
And it's different than quarterbacks, right?
Yes, different. It's just about him. Just about him.
Doesn't it go on to say that he kind of made a bunch of money playing, but not like they make it these days?
No, he
Didn't
made
he have a gambling problem?
he made a bunch. No,
Okay.
he made a bunch of money because he did a backdoor deal with a friend of his. They started selling his autographs while he was still a college player. He got investigated by the NCAA and had to sit out, I don't know, a couple games. But what you see is he recognized his market value and cashed in on it before it was appropriate to cash in on it, which now, 10 years later, he would be one of the highest paid college players in football. But back then, he was a Heisman Trophy, first freshman to ever win the Heisman Trophy, and it was a pariah, And then he went to Cleveland to play football and was going to rescue that franchise. And he just didn't have the work ethic or the character to pull it off. He was a flash in the pan, but he's very upfront about telling the story about how he let it get to his head, and he was like a nova, just burned out.
I watched Missouri beat him.
I did too. That was his 8-4 sophomore season. Yeah. I watched Oppenheimer yesterday. Has anybody seen that? What did you think?
I liked it.
Did you? Why?
I think I mentioned before here while you were gone, but I really enjoyed the history background in it. The development of Los Alamos and relationship with Einstein and the folks at the universities where he was working. It's a tad long, but it's all right. I liked it.
I thought Robert Downey Jr. Did a world-class job. I thought
He stole the show.
he did. Yeah, that's to me the best part of it. Yeah, and I also saw Barbie. Anybody seen Barbie?
I'm supposed to go see it.
Yeah,
Good.
that's like Asteroid City. It's great eye candy. It's just the set direction and everything. The story doesn't really talk to me, but I don't think I'm the target audience.
Well, Donna recommended that last week too. She said, all you guys should take your wives and go see Barbie.
But not your granddaughter.
Why?
She said it's over their heads.
It's, I think it speaks to our generation, really. I mean, you could say it only speaks to girls or women or something like that, but it sort of speaks to our generation and how we perceive women, things like that. I mean, Barbie's in there. It's interesting that way. I thought
they had to thread a needle. They were trying to, I'm trying to figure out what they were trying to do. I think they were trying to create Barbie as this icon who, through modern times, adapted and became more than this one-dimensional thing. But in order to make it work, she has to be this one-dimensional thing. And it was, the creative tension is interesting to watch. Yeah, it would be a hard story to tell. Whoever came up with the script, deserves, I don't know if they deserve an Oscar, but they deserve something for pulling it off. Yeah.
they might get an Oscar.
There'd be lots of nominations for
They
it.
got a blockbuster, so they're going to get well paid for it.
Some
That's right.
category.
It's a billion and still counting. I mean, it's only been out for
Just now?
like 3 weeks,
Yeah.
Wow.
and it hit a billion quickly.
10 indictments for Trump in Georgia.
What?
Breaking news.
10?
Whoa.
10 indictments in Georgia.
You know, and if he's elected president, he can't pardon himself from state convictions. Only federal convictions.
And as it stands right now, unless things change, Georgia might be the only place where that's a televised trial.
Right.
Get out the popcorn.
Well, if you all will excuse me,
Yeah, we are.
No.
I need to go lick
Pete,
my
no,
wounds.
no excuses, Pete.
Yeah, really.
Hey,
Have a
thank you.
pleasant
Hey,
evening.
Pete, it wasn't so bad.
Chris, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
Welcome.
you.
Nice to meet you,
We'll see you
Chris.
down the road.
Hope you come
yeah.
back. Yeah.
Send
I
me
look
your email.
I
I
will
jumped in late. Where are you, Chris?
Kansas City, actually Gladstone.
Okay,
Yeah.
Pete lives in Mission.
I'm in Mission.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm north of the river too, but I'm in Kansas City North.
Yep. Me too.
All right.
Ashton and I are in Springfield.
Yeah.
Springfield, yay.
Gary and I are there.
I love Springfield.
And I'm in Tacoma, Washington.
Yes, I know where you are. That's a beautiful, beautiful place. I got to fly over it as I was leaving Seattle this summer.
Hey, Mike, I saw Jeff Arthur's comment on that that thing where what's the name of it? Desecration, that island, that bridge,
Oh, Deception Pass.
Deception Pass. And does he live up by Mount Vernon?
He does, yes. He lives in
Oh.
Mount Vernon.
In Mount Vernon? Okay. All right.
That's why I said I could see my house from here.
Yeah.
All right,
Figure-
see you folks.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Mikey,
All
I'll
right.
see you. Mike, I'll see you
Bye.
Friday. Mahoney, I'll see you Friday.
You bet. Have a pleasant evening.
All right.
Yes.
See y'all. Bye.